immediately snaps up under you. You're whisked away from the dark room. And the party, kind of unaware of what's happening out from outside the cave, see the doors go and they open up again. And Orvo peeks his little head in and goes, "Yes, I do believe he passed. Well, well. Maybe Valscorpus does send its finest. Next would be the test of intellect. Who's willing to pass that?"
I'll take it.
Are you certain? Do you think you're wise enough, sir?
A wise man would know better than to try.
I know not what you mean, but I love your confidence. Go on
To be
in.
honest, neither do I. I don't know either.
Brilliant. A dizzying intellect. In fact, I might have to sit down after this conversation. So.
Me too.
Go right on in. And with that,
I enter.
He enters. He goes in and shoom. The doors shut again, and he's met with blackness, complete darkness. And
It's pretty dark in here.
This time he's met with a similar visage. A small light, after a few moments of dark and silence, plays out over this tiny little throne. And there sits a halfling with like many scrolls and books all around him, stacked higher than him, and he's just sitting on this like halfling-sized chair. And his eyes are like massive because like while he has normal-shaped eyes in his head, the glasses that adorn his nose create this massive image as if his eyeballs are like the size of like your fist. And he blinks like just off-puttingly as he looks up at you and goes like, "Ooh, boy, adventurers. Are you here for the intellect test?"
Yeah.
Goody, goody. And he claps his hands. And
I'm going to clap my hands too.
Brilliant. And two chairs come up. They slide in from the darkness and settle up in front of him. "Ooh, I guess you wanted two chairs. Please have a seat and let's begin."
I didn't realize that clapping someone's chairs. I'm going to clap again.
A third chair comes.
What is this enchantment? I'd love to learn it.
Oh, maybe if you pass, I might teach it to you.
Ooh. Maybe I like you.
Good. Have a seat. I haven't actually been able to play this game in quite a while. It's definitely going to be challenging. So be ready.
Oh, yeah?
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
All right. So.
Are you as aroused as I am right now? No, I'm kidding.
It's okay. We'll edit that out later. All right. He looks up after like pulling this scroll out. He reads on it. He adjusts his glasses. "Once upon a time, there was a king. His name was Leogrin. King Leogrin was a fair and just king. And in his time, two farmers brought him a dispute. A matter that only the king could settle. You see, there were two horse farmers, neighboring farmers, one very rich and the other very poor. One of these horse farmers, his name was Alfred. This was the poor horse farmer. And the other, Petrov. Petrov was the rich one. So they came to King Leogrin one day, and Petrov had accused the other farmer, Alfred, of stealing from him. But not in the way you would expect, you see. During the night, Petrov claimed that his prized stallion had escaped from its stable and ran across to the neighboring yard and had bred with one of the lesser mares at Alfred's stable. Now, this may not have been an issue, but Petrov brought it up to the king because he wanted to claim money. Breeding was highly valuable, you see, especially for such a prized stallion. And having unwillfully bred with another mare, he demanded compensation, like he would for anyone else willing to breed with his stallion. Alfred, on the other hand, the lesser, Alfred said that he was being blackmailed, that Petrov was a scheming con artist who tried to push his stallion off on other people's mares secretively so he could bring them to the courts like this and demand money unwillingly. This was very difficult for the king, you see. He had to decide. Would Alfred be let go to keep the newborn half-hybrid stallion? Or would he have to pay Petrov for the services he did not ask for? So, here's the test. You may ask me any question, and I will always answer truthfully. You may ask me any questions regarding the situation, but at the end, you must decide, what decision did King Leogrin go for? Did he favor the rich horsemaker or the poor? Of course, you can't ask me a question as simple as, what is the answer? That would ruin the game.
Fair enough.
So, the test of intellect begins.
How many questions do I get? As many as I need to answer your riddle?
As many as you need.
Fair enough. Then, what can you tell me about King Leogrin's upbringing? What can you tell me about his childhood? What were his parents like? What were the people that raised him like? What are his values?
King Leogrin, I forget the term now, but he's not actually a blooded king. He is not part of a royal bloodline. He was appointed king during a wartime. As a heroic and wartime champion, he gained such a title. His parents were actually poor farmers. He himself was a peasant once, and through a series of unexpected circumstances, he rose to kingship.
I see. And, what was he like before the war? What was his life? What was the situation revolving around his life before he was a soldier?
King Leogrin was a kindly sort, hardworking, very attentive to his duties, and always was a helping hand.
What work did he do?
He plied away at the farm with his father.
Farmer. All right. Do most legal matters usually get resolved by the king?
Not always. Not always.
Was any sort of research made to confirm that this is actually happening? Was there any sort of investigation?
Well, to the best of their ability, they could confirm that the mare was made pregnant very recently.
Right.
As this is medieval times, they couldn't DNA test to see which horse it
Well,
was. So, in classic style investigation way back when, they basically had the two testimonies of the farmers and the proof that the mare was indeed impregnated.
All right. Judging from the king's upbringing, it sounds like he'd be very sympathetic with Alfred. It sounds like he's not a huge favor to the rich. I feel like... Can I ask you how he feels about the upper class? Tell me how he feels about all classes, if you can. Upper, middle, and lower class.
Well, his opinions varied throughout his lifetime. I mean, he grew up in the lower class, so he does empathize very greatly with his lower citizens and is often a king of the people. He does understand the necessity, however, for the noble class, as they do run most of the kingdom as the feudal system works out and run the economy. He
Right.
appreciates every class within the system for its purposes and duties to the overall health of the kingdom.
All right. You said that what's his name? Not Alfred, the other guy.
Petrov.
What was it? Petrov. You said Petrov also lived on a farm?
Yes, they were both horse farmers, though one was rich and the other not so much.
So by horse farmer, do you mean that they raised and bred horses for a living?
Precisely.
Specifically horses, there were no other sort of income coming from that? Like no crops to sell, no other animals?
Predominantly horses.
Predominantly. Okay.
Has my test gotten you riled, adventurer?
I like moral situations like this, my friend.
But can you solve it? What did King Leogrin decide? Who did he favor?
Hmm. I don't think he favored with either of them. I think he created a compromise of some sort. However, what that compromise may be, I'm still thinking about it.
Do you intend to make a statement, an answer, or are you going to ask a
I
question?
think the king gave Petrov custody of the unborn horse. Once it was born, it would. I think the king said that the is it a mare? It's not a baby horse.
A
The
mare
mare
is a
would go to
female
Petrov.
horse, and a stallion is a
Oh,
male horse. A
then
baby horse would be a foal, I believe.
then the foal will go to Petrov.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Adventurer. I only gave you 2 options, and you created a third. I'm afraid you failed.
That's unfortunate.
That's all right. You'll meet your friends soon, at least. And he claps, and all of the
clapped with him.
chairs, all of the chairs come tumbling down.